Yeah, for today's Zazenkai, I also invite you on Zoom, while we will have the Teisho now in German with the people present here for practice. You will be able to listen to a Teisho I recorded a few days ago. Zazenkai means literally sitting Zen gathering. Zen, sitting in Zen meditation, sitting in concentration, and Kai is the gathering, the element of coming together to practice. Now when we gather in practice, it's a mutual motivation to sit together, feel each other, meditating, perhaps hearing the breathing or movements of others nearby. But even a virtual gathering, Zazenkai, has this profound chance to be in this realm of forms, but also being in the realm beyond forms, in the realm of the Absolute, the unity that we experience in states of deep meditation. A realm that is not separate from forms. So we often think, I have to go deep, I have to meditate and then enter a different state of mind, a different state of perception and realization. But in fact, the Absolute and the form, they're not separate, they're not two. They're a unity. It's interpenetrating reality. It's actually, forms are emanation of the Absolute, and the Absolute is also not in its entirety there without the forms. As soon as we start to think of those as two, we go astray. So let's also just enter practice through forms, time and space. So even though we are here in Wettingen physically, I'm here in Wettingen physically sitting on my mat. You are sitting mostly far away in a different time zone, but it comes together. So space and time are not torn apart. They're one unity and a continuum, however we look at it. So today I would like to share some input, some insights in regard to Dogen's life, who was Zen master of the 13th century. And he was a serious seeker and also thinker. So his philosophical reflections on the Buddha Dharma are not easy, accessible. What is easy, accessible, and what it is really tangible is his immense devotion to practice without hesitation. So he was studying first Buddhism after losing his mother very early on during his life. So it's said that he lost his mother at the age of 9. His father, or his foster father, was said to be a functionary during the Kamakura time in the regency, so in the government. He was probably murdered. And his mother died of sickness. And through these experiences he was very much thrown into existential questions about life and death. And so he started searching, so how to liberate his mind, how to liberate himself and also liberate others. And he was very much attached or not attached. He was searching in the Buddhist teaching for hints of liberation. And so he studied the scriptures, Buddhist scriptures. He studied with Tendai school, where a lot of reverence was practiced towards chanting the names of Buddha, Amitabha Buddha. And then he also met teachers who worked with him in the tradition of the Lingji school, Rinzai school. So with a lot of emphasis on the koan studies. And it's obvious also that only came to light not so far ago, not so long ago, that he immersed himself deeply into koan studies. Not only in Japan, where he first met his inside teacher, even though at that time it was a bit under suspicion, this kind of Chinese Zen teaching, as opposed to the Tendai school and practices. On the way, he first already got in Japan authorization, but then had the notion, I need to go deeper. And he went to China and went to various monasteries there until he met his Chinese teacher Ru Jing, with whom he kept on studying very intensely. And during that time he got also familiar with a form of practice within the Jiaodong school, which is the Soto school in Japan, where there's a lot of emphasis in just sitting, shikantaza. But even though this is a core practice also in the teaching of Dogen later on, and it was even during the further development of the Soto school even more emphasized than I believe it was during Dogen's time. Because only the early 20th century it came to light that Dogen himself had collected 300 and some koans that are not known koan collection. So during his time in China, he collected these koans, but he also made a copy, one of the two oldest remaining copies of the Hekigan Roku, a famous koan collection with 100 koans and commentaries and verses that are also widely applied in the Rinzai school. So he was a man penetrating whatever there was to learn. Not just sitting, he was devoted meditator. He would often be first to sit on the cushion and last until late at night, and really try to penetrate and reach that state that is later on vividly reported as dropping off body and mind. Notion that his teacher Ru Jing made in encouraging the monks to drop off everything, all concepts, and that one day Dogen experienced with literally dropping off body and mind and making this deep realization of unity. That's particularly familiar in Zen practice. Even though in Soto Zen there is more the notion or the emphasis on everything is already here, everything is already fulfilled. So when we just sit in shikantaza, or just sit with our breathing, or just sit with even mu, as long as we don't have concepts of what that shikantaza is, or this sitting with mu, or what this sitting for intends, then we can say with Buddha himself, all sentient beings are by nature complete. So that's the notion of Soto, that we don't have to achieve something beyond our very existence. And in that regard, we don't have to work through koan or to sit to achieve something that has nothing to do with our real, actual state where we are in now. And yet, it's often the discussion, are we gradually realizing this state, or is it a sudden awakening? Dogen himself also affirms it's a sudden insight that changes our view, our perception of the whole. But we should also not seek for that sudden enlightenment. So it's a paradox in itself. We practice, we do things, we try to have realization, and yet we should not foster too many expectations what that will be, or what that will lead us to. So rather we should be present, practicing diligently, upright, and not fantasizing what enlightenment could be. It's just this becoming one. And this oneness can be experienced but not so easily described. So Dogen often in his, I have here his book of the Shobogenzo, a newer translation by Katsuaki Tanahashi, The Treasury of the True Dharma Eye. With all the translations of his fascicles, the scriptures he wrote on space and time and on how to study the way. And his most famous expression in the Gensho Koan goes like this, I'm paraphrasing. So to study the Buddha way is to study the self. And to study the self is to forget about the self. And to forget about the self is to become one with the myriad of things. And becoming one with the myriad of things is to be actualized again and again. And this actualizing, realizing, we apply enlightenment. So there's nothing special. Even the koans, which are also part of the myriads of things, we don't work on koans and solve koans and then we go to the next and work our way through these koans. No, these koans, they're just glimpses onto an ever-changing reality that is pure presence, lived entirety, shown, emanating in many different forms and situations. So all the koans, they represent some aspect of this experience, this unity, the absolute and the form, in a simple encounter between teacher and students. students. But in fact, every single day we encounter challenges, or we encounter situations that startle us and perhaps find us not so prepared or not so embedded in this simplicity of unfolding. What's unfolding? And yet we vow to penetrate it again and again. And it's this penetrating, this saying yes to every moment that is all-inclusive and doesn't strive to the future, doesn't cling to the past, and also is not grasping to the very moment. So if we try to cling to the present moment, it's also slightly missing the point. It's a continuity of time and space. In German we have the word Gegenwart, which literally translated is not waiting. So gegen is against, Wart is warten, waiting. So it's against waiting for something special to occur. To be in Gegenwart, to be in the very moment, is just to be in the very moment. Not clinging to the very moment, to avoid the future, and not to be stuck in the past. But we can also be stuck in the idea of this very moment, but there is no very moment of itself. It's a continuity. And this continuity is endless. This continuity is enlightenment, is awakening, is unfolding, and is suchness moment after moment. So again, Dogen talks about the firewood that is firewood at the moment when it's firewood, and the amber at the moment when it's amber, and the ashes at the moment when it's ashes. So there's no turning of firewood into amber and then ashes. Everything is just what it is suchness, is Tathagata, this honorable name, this name of honor for Buddha. But this name of honor, Tathagata, the thus being, or the one that came thus, is just suchness. So no speculation at all, just suchness of this, of bowing, of of listening to the gong, of sitting the next round, or later on we will have a soup together, those who sit here in the Zendo. You at home might have a sandwich or also a soup or something your partner cooked for you or you prepared ahead. So suchness occurs time after time. No speculation. And this simplicity, that's the dropping away of body and mind also, that Dogen talks about and experienced. Even though, we sit and body and mind drop away, and yet body and mind are not non-existent. Legs fall asleep, feet wake up, then it's good to walk around in Kinin and settle again for another round of Zazen. And perhaps we count our breaths, and perhaps, most likely, even thoughts arise. And that is also just suchness. Just being. Again and again. Sometimes enjoyable, sometimes also enlightening, sometimes funny. Yeah. So I'm very thankful for this practice. Thankful for, all of you who practice together on this day of Zazenkai, who join. It's outside today, it's a bright, sunny day. And spring is announcing itself, and that's also just this movement, this change of Zazen, of Kinin, of cold days, of rainy days, sunny days. Soon the buds of trees and bushes will push forth. Everything has its time. And now it's time for more meditation. So I hope you are encouraged to continue your practice and go deep in the realm that is actually beyond deep or high or low or wide. Should not harbor these sentiments of oh, I achieved something or I'm progressing. And yet we should also not harbor feelings of, oh, this is all for nothing. It is just completeness that we realize, that we incorporate. And it's a very fine way to spend a day every now and then in coming together, practicing together this wonderful way that is taught since old times, and that gives us access to a form of perception or realization that in different cultures and times has been cultivated. So, thank you for keeping this practice alive and doing your best to let body and mind drop away, or however you would formulate this experience. I thank you very much.